Hello and welcome to all our Gold viewers out there. My name is Kristen Schwartz, licensed midwife and MC here at Gold. And with me, I'm very excited here today. I have a special guest, and it is, and many of you know the face, it is Michelle Emanuel. Michelle, welcome back to Gold. It's lovely to have you here.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here.
It's absolutely fabulous to have you back. I know many of our viewers are thrilled to come to the Tongue Tie Symposium 2022, and you're one of our speakers there, and they're already looking forward to learning from you as we are here at Gold. So, but before we go into the details of the presentation and the Tongue Tie Symposium, tell us a little bit about yourself. You are a neurodevelopmental occupational therapist, and you have so many, you wear so many hats. So tell us a little bit about your background, and also then tell us what you're working on now.
Okay. Well, I love having the opportunity to come to Gold because, it's so much fun working with you guys, and you're always on the cutting edge, and you're always delivering really high quality stuff. So a little bit about me is, yes, I've been a pediatric occupational therapist for 26 plus years now. And I think some of the things, I have some additional credentials and certifications, and I've done a lot of training because I've been in it for a really long time. And so I think that's one thing. And the other thing is I have a real passion and a heart for working with babies. And I got really lucky because right away when I was a brand new occupational therapist, I started working in pediatrics.
Mm-hmm.
And I started in pediatric rehab. And this was a neuro diagnosis, and we would also get spinal cord, and I learned a lot. And but then I transitioned jobs, and I started working in the school system, and I really liked doing that. But I knew I didn't want to stay there because the focus is a little different. It's not medical enough, and the acuity wasn't high enough for me. So I was doing acute care pediatrics and feeding, and I fell in love with that. Then I had my own baby. And when I was on maternity leave, even I was ready to make some changes, and I made a call, and I took a chance to call a place that I really wanted to work. And this was a large children's hospital in Cincinnati, Ohio. And they said, the only job we have right now open is in our NICU. And I said, well, that's my job. So I wanted it. And I ended up working at Children's Hospital for 17 and a half years. And half of that was in the NICU, half of it in outpatient. I also worked in many clinics: International Adoption Clinic, feeding team, high-risk infant follow-up clinic, pain clinic. I did a lot of everything because I really wanted to learn, and it was the perfect opportunity to grow as a professional and become confident and safe as a practitioner. And so I left the hospital. I've been out in private practice for over 5 or 6 years, 7 maybe years now. And my focus is working with pre-crawling babies. And most of the time, interestingly enough, versus the hospital, most of my caseload now, an outpatient here in private practice, are typically developing babies who maybe don't have a diagnosis of anything, maybe don't even have a pediatrician concerned at this point. Usually the parents are concerned, the lactation consultants were concerned, the people who are seeing the baby, and it's because of these issues. And it's tongue tie, really. And it's the oral dysfunction that goes along with tongue tie. And the fact that since the tongue is interconnected so much to the whole body, it impacts the body, the whole body. And I really look at it, and there's different categories of how it can affect things, but it can affect the posture, it can affect how the whole body moves. It can affect tension patterns and just the way we hold our bodies. It also affects our upper airway and our lower airway, our digestion. And this is from 2 places, right? From air swallowing and poor feeding because of compromised tongue function, etc., but also the digestion part and the sphincter dysfunction and motility, etc. And then there can be, other things like head molding, or what we call torticollis, and just persistent asymmetries. So that was that's really what I'm focusing on now. And I've been in several different places, and I really, my heart is always still going back to those beginnings as an OT, where I worked in neuro and I worked with the body and the physiology. And that's where I see so much compromise of the autonomic nervous system, and that impacts feeding, because if a baby's having trouble breathing, they're not going to be able to coordinate breathing with sucking and swallowing.
Right. And you brought up something very interesting that really I thought was very interesting. What you said, sometimes you see babies where the healthcare providers, there's no diagnosis or there wasn't even a concern, but the parents have concerns, see something. And it's always like, we need to trust the parents. They know what's going on, right? They're the experts on their baby. They know something isn't, maybe quite right. And sometimes it must be frustrating also for the parents to maybe go to several healthcare providers and being told, oh, it's fine. Why don't you just give the baby the bottle if, it's not that important. And then seeing like, wait a minute, there is a lot going on with the tongue tie, what you just described, because it's not just about the feeding, which feeding is, of course, a very, very important part already, but it has even other impacts. And I think we're learning more and more about it. And so for you, that must have been fascinating to see all that and all the research also coming out on this topic too. So there must be have been quite a surprising journey for you, going all these 26 years and counting back and seeing where you started and seeing what you learned and building on that. I can assume it has been absolutely fascinating for you.
Absolutely. And I have felt absolutely blessed the whole way. I've put in a lot of work and I've put in the time and I put in the heart, but absolutely. And I'm fascinated by what you just talked about, which is the parental instinct about the offspring needing help or not. And it's not always obvious what the help is that they need, but they know.
I know.
And that now we know to name that sense. That sense is interoception. And I did a really good talk for you guys a while ago about interoception. This was a while ago.
Yes.
But that's the sense. It's our sixth sense. It's really very strong in parents, especially when we're tuning into it. I think we all have it, but we're tuning into it even more because we're searching for all of a sudden, not just ourselves, but our babies. And that puts a little bit more impetus behind it. And I think and this is so good. And another reason why doing these tongue tie symposiums is so powerful, because we get to spread the word out there to professionals who can then help give families an option and give families the opportunity to make informed consent, really is what it all is too.
And informed decisions. And, it's fascinating to me that we've been, learning now about tongue ties. We have been putting up these symposiums for quite a while now. And there is still more, right? Still more new information, new things we discover, new things we learn, new research, right? It feels like we think we've come so far, which we have, but I feel like, wow, we're still going and learning more and seeing new things, new developments, new ways to help our families, right? That's something fascinating to me. And every year I'm looking forward to this symposium because I feel like we learn so much that we can help our families with.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely.
I'm so glad to be here. And, just about my talk,
Yes, please go ahead. We want to talk about this now, your presentation.
This dovetails so well because my talk is really more about opening our minds to concepts and things that can help us connect the dots and turn on light bulbs. And for those of you who have learned from me before, I love that.
Yes.
And, I'm an avid learner. I think most of us are drawn to tongue tie because it's so complex and interdigitated. But it's the concepts of compensatory versus novel movements. And we all have been talking about compensations for a long time. We know that's what happens when a baby can't move their tongue or lips or jaw. So the body will contort itself around the dysfunction in order to do its best.
Right.
But when we come in and with our therapies and our supportive techniques, etc., we want and to do the tongue tie release too, we need novel movement to show up. And so that's the point. So we need to both, look at the compensations and be glad that they're there, but work on them so that we can move towards novel movements. And eliminating compensatory strategies.
And this is so important. And I think I'm so glad you're presenting on this because I think it's something we need to look more into, because, you know, many, and I know this because I've talked to other practitioners, many practitioners even think, or parents think that, oh, let's do the tongue tie release and everything will be fine. Everything will be, you know, solved just like this. Well, sometimes it doesn't always work like that, right? And if you have these movements, maybe you need to do exercises. Maybe, you know, the baby, the muscle, it needs to learn how to do things differently because the body has done these compensatory movements, right? So there is maybe a little work required and things to be done differently. And I feel like often parents might not be prepared for that because they have no idea about this. You know, how are they supposed to know about this? So this is an area that I'm very excited about learning more too. And that's why we have you here to give us that insight on the day of the presentation. Michelle, before I let you go, can you give us a little nugget of wisdom, what you hope we can take away from that presentation?
Ooh, that's hard. Okay, here it is. Become even a better observer. Because there's something about observation that changes movement.
Interesting. Very interesting. Yeah. That is what a nugget of wisdom right there. And I think we have to sit with this and think about it too, and internalize it. And that was very powerful. Thank you so much, Michelle, for sharing this wisdom and sharing your time here with us at Gold. It was lovely speaking to you today.
Lovely speaking to you too. And thank you so much. Looking forward to seeing you all.
Yes. And this information is now for our viewers. The Gold Tongue Tie Online Symposium of 2022 is just around the corner here on September 12 and 13. And you can learn with us here at Gold live. We have 5 presentations on each of these days live for you, but they are also recorded. So if you cannot make the live days, you can watch the presentations then at your convenience. And if you would like to find out more about Michelle's presentation and all the other presentations in the symposium, we invite you to visit goldlearning.com. I hope to see you all at the symposium. Bye-bye, everyone.